Hey everybody, it's Tyler from the 3 to Pass Vanguard / gaming channel, coming at you today with a deck profile for Rorowa post set 6 from Divines. Now, Rorowa has always been my favorite standard deck, and before standard, my favorite clan has always been Gear Chronicle. I always mained Chronojet. So to see that little crossover with Chronos Command and Rorowa, as you can see here in the art, that was just really cool for me to see, my two favorite decks from two different generations come together. So very excited to be playing Rorowa with a little bit of Gear Chronicle-esque to him. So we're going to go ahead and start with our ride line. Shout out the dudes from Kingslayer Cards for giving me these. So first, we have obviously the Rorowa Grade 0, the Grade 1, the Grade 2, and the new Set 6 Grade 3 Rorowa. Now to go over his skill a little bit, it was different for me in the beginning, not making 3 plant tokens, but the extra draw to make 2 for the Energy Blast really does come in clutch a lot, because sometimes you're just 1 card short from being able to do a good push for game, and that really comes in handy. Additionally, his ability to give the token units 5k if the opponent's Vanguard is on Grade 3 is a huge plus, because there are times where you just don't have extra cards to hit for a column, and calling those 2 plant tokens that each get 5k makes you a column with a pretty big number. So, and then on top of that, with your order that you run in this deck, the numbers can get pretty big even for just tokens. I never find myself, or I haven't even in any game yet, finding myself using the skill to bottom deck one of my cards with Radilena to call out one with the grade less. I know you're supposed to put the Grade 3 back, call the Grade 2. Haven't done it yet because this deck just has so much search power. You don't really ever find yourself needing to, but consistently, I find myself using his first ability with the put the Rorowa to the bottom of the deck, and bottom deck one of your opponent's units. Very strong. It even gets around not being able to be retired abilities, and that's just really good. Very good for getting rid of key pieces, also for decks like Zorga or Night Rose, where they want to put their things into the drop anyway. By sending it to the bottom of the deck, you don't really have to worry about it, and that's great. And on top of all that extra stuff, we still have Rorowa's great ability to guard with tokens from the field. I always find myself with 3 cards in hand, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm about to die this turn. And then I remember I have 2 front row intercepts and 3 back row tokens, and that's 25k shield on board. So that's just great. Overall, I'd say the card got nothing but pluses and is a fantastic addition to the deck. So, moving forward for that, obviously, for Persona ride reasons, we run 3 of the new Rorowa. There's not much more to say about that. We already went into detail about it. Then, outside of that, we run 4 of the Grade 3 Radilena. I know a lot of Grade 3s are going to be in this deck profile, but trust me, you always pretty much have shield in hand. You can always pitch them for early rides, because you know most of the time you can search your deck for another copy before you end up needing it. So they're just good to discard early game, and then you always want to make sure you have 4 in deck anyway, just in case you can't get an extra copy. There's 1 there. So her ability, very big. I find that this ends up finishing games most of the time, because opponents will say how many attacks on board. You tell them 4, but hand isn't public knowledge. And her ability is after your Radilena attacks, retire that Radilena and the Momoki token behind her, call this card to the rear guard, and it gets the power of the token. Now that's really big, because on top of just getting more power and being an extra attack, that's kind of like sneaking its way on board with people not being able to know about it. If Rorowa hits any amount of triggers, especially if he hits the over trigger on a drive check, gives it to that Momoki token in the back row, that's 1 million power attacking with the token, another million with Radilena when she swings and uses her Soul Blast to gain the power of the token, and then this will call out from hand with another million. So if you hit your over trigger on that Momoki token, she's in hand, it's basically game over. That's 3 million attacks. And even if you hit 1 or 2 triggers on your Momoki token, it just comes out for big, big numbers. So 4 of this, in my opinion, is a must. Very, very strong card. Now, that being said, we're moving on to another grade 3, is Resolute Pair of Eyes, which is the order. Basically, I see a lot of people running at 2 or 3. I personally believe that it's good at 4. This deck searches all of its key pieces very fast, and this just helps with that and boosts backboard to make even stronger numbers. So having it at a higher number than 2 or 3 doesn't hurt the deck. You don't brick because you search so much in this deck, and just having 4 of it makes it to where you're hitting it if you need to. I've had multiple games with other decks where I'll run 1 or 2 orders of something that makes the plays, and it'll just get damaged or sent to the drop. So running it at 4, you make sure you're hitting it, and it really doesn't mess with your numbers at all. There's too much search power in this deck for it to detriment it at all. And it may seem like it's a 3, it's a grade 3, you're losing shield value, but you're getting your best card from your deck to your hand. You're adding Radiolina, grade 2, or the grade 3, and that's all you really want to see with this deck, is you want to hit your Radiolinas. So, and then on top of being able to give the back row tokens 5k, that's just another way to combo with the Momoki thing I was talking about. The more power he has, the more power the next 2 Radiolinas are going to have. So, very good for the deck. So then next, we're going on to the new Set 6 Glitter Searcher. I'm running it at 4, and honestly, I don't see any problem with it being at 4. This is basically just another 4 copies of Radiolina you can hit in your deck, or your Momoki grade 2, or your Radiolina grade 3. Honestly, it's just so good. It fills the soul too. If you search the deck and you find a copy of a card you're looking for, she goes into the soul. So Rorowa gets so much soul now on top of this and his new order that you really don't have anything to do with it all. But, it's just great that it is going into soul. So if you ever need soul, it's there. If you ever fight against prisons, I guess. But, yeah, she's just great. It's really good early game because if you open your hand and don't see Radiolina in there, you just play her on your grade 2 turn. More than likely, you're going to hit Radiolina, your Momoki token, or anything, any of those glitter units. And it's just so good. And by some chance you have your hand already set up, just add your Persona Ride to your hand because Rorowa himself is a glitter unit. So all around, I run it at 4. It's been great at 4 so far, and I really love that card. So then moving into next, we have the grade 2 Momoki. Now this card, I love this card. It's so good because its ability, you can call it from the hand or drop by just retiring your own Momoki token. So typically, the play you want to do is call your Radiolina and your token on grade 2, while they're probably at grade 2 still, or a grade 1, and rush them with 4 attacks. Then your next turn, you're going to call this over that token and get an even bigger column, or if they're at grade 3, you're calling this and making it even larger. It's just such a good follow-up to that turn from before. And even early game, if you see this, and like I said, the deck searches so much, if you see you have another searcher, just discard it. It works from the drop zone too. You just call it from the drop over top of the token. So if you're discarding it to ride, you're not negging yourself at all. It's going to come back later. On top of that, this deck, along with Rorowa, opens up removal for the deck. Because if you retire another rearguard, it can retire one of your opponents. So usually, every turn, you're retiring one of theirs and sending one to the bottom of the deck. And that adds up. It's just very strong overall. And just getting an additional 10k if they are on grade 3, honestly, that's just a plus. It's literally just everything we loved about Momoki, but better. And it retires the Momoki token itself and one other rearguard to get its full benefit. Momoki used to have to retire 2 anyway, just to be able to get that power to swing with. So it's almost no different. It's a plus side in every way. I just love that card. And once again, it is a glitter unit in itself, searchable by the new order and the new grade 2. So just all around great card, but that also brings us to Radiolina herself. Now this card is the bread and butter of the deck. Without her, nothing works. You can't make your Momoki token to call your grade 2 Momoki. You can't have her on board to retire to make your grade 3 Radiolina come out. You just need this card. And thankfully, with the new support on top of all the old stuff, she's just searchable by so many means. You have the grade 2 order, you have the new grade 2 glitter searcher unit, and you have your grade 3 order as well. All of those just fantastic, great ways to get her into your hand. I already spoke about the combos. If you're on grade 2, this is the only deck I can think of off the top of my head that has 4 attacks on its grade 2 turn, because her ability is active if you have Rorowa Glitter Vanguard, which you will, because the grade 2 Rorowa and the ride line itself is a glitter unit. That being said, you call your Momoki token, you swing with the token, swing with her. And overall, that's just very strong. And the Radiolina's last attack on that swing, even if they had gotten a trigger, say they're at grade 2, they're now at a 20k base. The Momoki token's at 10. When she swings, she's going to Soul Blast 1 and go straight to 20, so that attack is still hitting. Overall, just fantastic card. You want to see this as early as possible and hold on to it. With all the new decks out there that have such strong removal like Varga, before it used to struggle against being able to keep her on board and reoccurring her from drop, but now, since you can just search so much, you can really just throw out your copy early, get that benefit, and then just add another one straight from your deck. So we don't really have to worry about that too much anymore. You know, if you play smart, you'll always have one in hand, and that's really good. Which finally brings us back around to the last grade 2 in the deck, the New Order. Now this card I'm only running at 3 because as much as I love searching, and I think the searching is consistent, too much searching, you know, we don't need it. Like, we don't want to go overboard because we already can get everything we need into our hands so fast by the time we hit grade 3. Another one's not even needed. We could even go down to 2 if we wanted, but so far it's been safe and really good at 3. Basically, you play this card, you look at the top 7 for a glitter unit, and you put this card into your soul. So again, Rorowa just has so much plussing in the soul aspect of his deck that there's nothing to do with it other than just Radiolina's skill, which is 1 Soul Blast, that I kind of feel like I should put more cards in here that do Soul Blast for that benefit, but all his cards are just too good. This is just another searcher in itself. Very good card, and I personally love that artwork. I love all the artwork they did for Rorowa this set. Like, look at that. Look at the interdimensional Crossing Thoughts one. Such good artwork. So then, we're going to come to the grade 1s. Now, y'all might be shocked. There's not a lot of them. Or maybe you're not shocked. So, first up, we just have the 4 perfect cards. If you have 1 or less cards in your hand, you don't have to discard. You could just swap this out with Sanctitude if you want. My Sanctitude is just in my other decks. I only switch them out when I go to like a BCS or a tournament. But there's the 4 perfect cards. And probably to nobody's surprise now, we have 4 Burrowing Mushrooms. Now this is just, it's never been a bad card. And this is always probably going to be a great card to run in Rorowa. Just because you do find yourself needing to retire your own units for Momoki. So this just makes a column in itself if you need to. And then it also gives you extra stuff for Momoki to retire. So like early game, you can put this into your soul, have your grade 0 Momoki token retire both of them and gain that power, and then just call a regular rearguard. Now you have a 15k Momoki, which makes a 25k Radiolina. Very strong. Besides that, later on, you know, it's just more board presence. Any time you make a plant token, you're making another shield for Rorowa to guard with on the opponent's turn. So it's just a great card overall. And again, it goes into the soul. There's so much soul in this deck and nothing to do with it. So if anybody has any recommendations for cards that fit in this deck that use soul, let me know. Other than that, great card. And that's all of our grade 1s. Next, I'm not going to get too heavy into this because, you know, they're triggers. But I'll go into, we run 4 heals. They can be interchangeable based on your, you know, your locals, your preference on the effect trigger ones. For criticals, again, same thing. They're vanilla crits. I wouldn't even say you need to opt for the ones that go into the soul because you get so much soul and an extra 2k is not doing much. Like, in this deck, I wouldn't call a trigger to give a unit an extra 2k as opposed to keeping that 15k shield in my hand. And same thing with the other 4 crits, since we're doing 8 criticals. It's up to you if you wanted to run the effect crits. I don't think they're needed in this deck. As for these, we run 3 fronts. Now, the effect fronts you would always just want to run. I don't own them personally, so these are just the vanilla ones for now. But they're there. I would opt them out for the effect fronts. Definitely not the new fronts for set 7 coming out. Or no, they came out in set 6. The ones that go into the soul. We don't need more soul. We don't want more soul. And then out of all the Cray Elemental over triggers, as amazing and as good as they are, Bless Favor's just too nuts to not use. I mean, we're playing Stoicheia, we might as well use it. So, yeah. With that being said, that is my Rorowa deck. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any advice, any tips, if you liked it, just let us know down below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to be uploading plenty more deck profiles and plenty more fight vids, so stay tuned for that. And remember to always guard, because you could get crit and die. You might see a short of that later, because my dumb ass doesn't guard a lot. Anyway, peace, everybody.